Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 7 Reward American Cruiser, Flint. She has 12 127mm guns, 8 torpedoes, 58 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 9.4 kilometers top speed, 32.5 knots, total health 26,600. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main armament, improved aiming accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire, improved acceleration. For my commander, basic survivability, basic firing training, expert marksman, superintendent, demolition expert, and concealment. We are on the map Trident, and this is a very special ship. It is a reward ship for a player who has received the Jolly Roger version 1, the Jolly Roger version 2, so skull and crossbones, and skull and crossbones with a hat. If you have both of those flags in your inventory, the next rank season that you reach rank 1, you will be rewarded with the Flint, which is an Atlanta class cruiser. They've taken away one gun turret, and they've also swapped in smoke for radar. I really like smoke on this ship, and we engage this enemy Farragut. Now, I personally have not earned this ship. I don't believe anyone on the North American realm has the ability to earn the ship legitimately. We were not given the second Jolly Roger flag until the most recent ranked season, for whatever reason. So we have to play another season and get ranked 1 in order to earn this ship. That's my understanding. Either way, if you see a Flint, this is a very skilled player outside of myself. Anyone with this ship has reached ranked 1 3 separate times. That's just incredibly impressive, and you shouldn't underestimate them at all. There's no way I was going to grind it out last season. It was just too grindy. Absolutely unacceptable. I cannot dedicate 6 to 8 hours every day to play 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 ranked games. You don't want to see only 2 tiers for variety. Now, the destroyers attempting to capture B, they pop their smoke, they hide. Enemy Shores pushes forward. I engage him. I also see, there's an enemy Mahan pushing forward. I try to lead him in the direction he was headed. Last known position, of course. And I'm sort of playing this like, oh, I'm not aware that you're there. In fact, I know exactly that you're there, so I'm ready to go the second he comes around and we do massive damage to his side, knock out his propulsion. He's 1,300 away from dying, and we do the necessary 1,300 points of damage. He never fired a shot, so that tells me he has used his torpedoes. And yep, here they come. Forward, come on, full speed ahead, baby. Oh, he sent both, and are we going to avoid it? Oh, we avoid it. That was close. Interestingly, the destroyer tried to pop his smoke to save his life. It, however, was not successful, and I can make use of this. I'm going to push forward. Oh, another enemy destroyer. It's also a Mahan, and I'm going to, of course, engage him with my guns. I sort of try to fire invisible, and as he moves away, he hasn't fired his guns at all. He probably sent torpedoes as well. It's always best to assume the worst, and the worst is most definitely torpedoes. But we're doing good damage as he rotates away. Friendly finishes off the target, and yes, I'm very sorry for the skybox. I have 2 games for you today in this ship, so don't worry. I've already fixed it, and yep, here come the torpedoes. Okay. We've got to straighten up, got to get neutral. We got to avoid this damage. Please don't hit me. Oh, man. Ooh, okay, we're good. Wasn't even close. Another enemy destroyer, enemy Farragut. Please, Farragut, show yourself. Stop hiding. Good. Now you notice the lead. It's what, 19, 20 tick marks? And it's about 5 seconds to the target. You need to lead quite a bit for destroyers. I would say it's 2, maybe even 3. Plus, you gotta sort of get into their mind, predict their strategy for dodging the shots. Oh, an enemy New Orleans is showing up. Well, you know what? He's going to be a little bit of a challenge, and this might hurt. Oh, I popped my smoke, hoping to protect myself, of course. You can't do this in the Atlanta. You have no way of protecting yourself once the enemy shows up. And I'm just going to work on this New Orleans. He's much larger, and here come the AP. Okay, well, I'm not visible. Ooh, that was a good shot. That was a good shot. Wow. I can't say that he's good or bad. He fired where he felt I was it. I'm changing my location slowly. I don't want him to fire in the same spot and hit me again. He hits the forward part of my ship. He dies to friendly torpedoes, though, and we're still alive. I don't know how we're still alive. That was a lot of AP damage. Remember, the American cruisers have the best AP normalization of any nation. I would highly recommend, if a US cruiser is firing on you with AP, you have to sacrifice the rear guns, or one set of your guns. Normally, you want to bring all your DPS to bear, right? And it's designed in such a way that you have to show a significant amount of your side in order to do that, normally. It's just much safer to use the front or the back half, whatever angle is sufficient for the engagement, and try and minimize the AP's effectiveness, because it just is more effective at finding angles to penetrate and do massive damage, and you don't want that. It's a 203mm shell. It's going to do massive damage if it penetrates your armor, no matter what you are. I've seen battleships die in 3 or 4 salvos because they got too close and they showed too much of their side to an American cruiser. We take out the Farragut. He had no chance of escaping. And we made sure those guns were hot the whole time. The trick with these destroyer guns is to get comfortable using them. You really just need time with the shell. And the nice thing is if you've played the US destroyer line, then you know exactly how these guns work out. And speaking of working out, this game worked out splendid for our team. Just dominated all of the destroyers that pushed forward. They thought, we have 5, we can aggressively push. I was able to, luckily, avoid a lot of torpedoes that were meant just for me. They didn't have a second opportunity. They were dead before they had even 50% of their torpedoes reloaded. It's just that scary when you go up against a Flint/Atlanta. Now, I really like the Flint over the Atlanta for the simple fact that damage is not the problem with the Atlanta. Killing destroyers has never been the issue. Radar is just giving you more of the same. It's protecting yourself. And in this game, we got 2 kills, 2,453 base XP, because we basically took out destroyers. We denied them the ability to capture. I did only 40,000 points of damage, but it was basically a couple destroyers and a little bit more on the New Orleans. Now, this is not the only game. I have another game in this exact ship, and it's on this exact map. And it's with Poimain again in the Hatsahadu. Are you sure this is a new game, Notser? Don't worry, I promise you it's new. Now, you will notice that the skybox issue is gone. I've fixed it, and I will show you in maybe the next Untitled exactly what I'm doing for improved anti-aliasing. That's basically what makes the rigging look good. The rigging in this game just looks awful default. It makes sense. It's basically a pixel wide. It's a very thin, I think it's, is it a rope or is it a metal? Is it like rebar or something? Anyone who's worked in the Navy, do they still use a rope for structural, or are they purely metal focused whenever they're running something like that? Either way, we're in combat already. Poimain scouts out the enemy destroyer. He pops his smoke. Somehow, we make contact with him, incapacitate something. I don't know what I incapacitated. Don't want to pull a Notser. And I'm going to work my way around this island. Poimain, he pulled a Notser, and he's like, I can't believe I just did that on comms. And I was laughing, because it's always fun to see my friend fail. That's the relationship we have. But I do want him to succeed to some extent, because that means my team has succeeded, and therefore I have succeeded. So I'm going to use these 9.2 kilometer range torpedoes. Oh, he's leaving the safety. We incapacitated his propulsion, and I overshot just a hair. I did not expect him to be that sluggish. And it looks like he's in reverse. 4,000. We just nick him, and we do 4,000 points of damage. It's really shocking how fast the Flint/Atlanta kill destroyers. But he retreats back to his smoke, and now I am at a disadvantage. Thankfully, when I fire my guns, it did not extend the view range to the Congo, so I'm actually invisible while the enemy destroyer is in his smoke. And I sent my torpedoes in a predictable path. I didn't want to take torpedoes. I thought, that's too close. It's a friendly sending his torpedoes. Now we're just looking for any sign. Oh, we got him. We got him. Oh, that feels so great. I can't believe we got him. You never hit a torpedo unless you send it, right? You gotta take the chance. I'm sure he's sick to himself. He sent a torpedo, and I was right there to take it. We deny the enemy the ability to capture A along with that kill. So it's 1-1. We only have one extra kill on the enemy. It's still real early, right? I mean, it's less than 4 minutes in. This enemy Cleveland might be a target. Enemy Minekaze, interesting. He's behind the island though, not really a target. I do have the potential to sit behind the island and fire at my enemy. That's the nice thing about the US line. It has the shell arc to reach over an island that's fairly close. Now, I pop my smoke, and there's a Hatsuharu right there. Switch targets. I did not expect this guy to be this close. And sure enough, he's had to have sent his torpedoes. I mean, why would you not send? He hasn't fired his gun at all. I have to kill this guy quickly, and I have to get out of here very quickly. He's dead. The torpedoes are sent. I'm going to be spotted. I have no choice. The Cleveland appears to still be going in the direction that I sent my torpedoes. And I want to turn south as quick as possible. Yep, the Hatsuharu sent his torpedoes. This is not my first rodeo. I knew what he wanted to do. I have to leave the area. He predicted that I would stay, but I will risk taking possibly a really strong AP shot to avoid the inevitable torpedoes that are going to be right on my position. And we're working down this Congo. I'm sure he's just loving his life. And that's how strong the Flint/Atlanta really can be against destroyers and battleships. These guys are great at sitting behind islands and just doing consistent damage to their enemies. Big destroyers, well, big battleships can't get out of the way, and those tiny destroyers don't have the health pool to withstand the amount of damage they do. The enemy Warspite comes around the island, and we're going to try and engage him. He's at the maximum range, roughly. Now, the last game, I was using advanced firing training. This game, I'm using Demolition Expert. That's why I introduced Demolition Expert as the recommended build. You could use advanced firing training. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just understand it's going to have the same issues that US destroyers have. It's going to be really hard to hit those max range shots. But there's no reason to feel like one build is better than the other. Just use the build that you think aligns with your strategy. If you can't hit long shots as consistent as other players, go for demolition, I think. Maybe even survival. If you can consistently hit really long shots, go for advanced firing training. Plus, if you want to be that AA protection, AA is fantastic when it has extra range, right? And this still benefits from the Atlanta's perk, where it has unlimited defensive fire charges. And oh boy, we pulled a Notser. I was afraid of the enemy destroyer possibly sending torpedoes. I did not want to be in the predictable path that he would have assumed. And I also wanted to keep the islands in between the enemy and my ship. The detection range and the range of the guns itself is actually 1-to-1 if you don't have the concealment skill from your commander. This is my Des Moines commander. That's why he's so skilled. You should never have, well, unless you're training, you should never have a bad commander in a premium ship. And I have been told by Wargaming, it is classified as an event ship. Therefore, this ship will not be sold for the foreseeable future. They have no plans to, at least. This will only be rewarded at least for the foreseeable future. Anything's possible, right? Everything changes, but for now, you can only see this ship if you are one of the lucky few to earn both Jolly Roger flags and get a third Ranked 1 season under your belt. It's very exclusive, very exclusive. I don't think I will ever be able to earn it, legitimately. I was given it to test it. I don't know if they'll take it away, but I'm not going to complain right now. Now, the enemy Warspite coming out from behind the island, I send my torpedoes. It's nice that the torpedoes have range, so I can do just that. And I continue to unload a barrage. I pop my smoke, which the Atlanta could never do. The Atlanta needs to use islands to protect itself. The Warspite puts out the fire. He's going to fire blindly. Now, he might be a little bit easier to hit. Oh, he missed short. But my torpedoes are on point. We're going to get 1, 2, 3 torpedoes. We take out the Warspite. Boy, that feels good. The New Mexico is going to die to the team, and that's going to be the end of the game because they only have 23 points left. I will be streaming today, about 6 hours from the release of this video. I will be live on twitch.tv/notser. I will have a 10 or 15 second video announcing that I am live, and it's going to be really casual. I'm going to just make sure it's all set up correctly. Audio levels are great, video levels are great. We'll play a couple matches to make sure it all functions correctly. In this game, we got 4 kills, 73,000 points of damage done, 2,363 base XP, and we really only got 3 kills, because that was a total kill steal. The Flint is just a better Atlanta, in my opinion. The smoke charges work out to be a much better complementary module than the radar system. And that's okay, it's a reward ship for really good players. I think that's completely fine. I hope you enjoyed the games. If this is the last time I see you today, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.